Traditional Chinese medicine practices teach us how to ebb and flow with life's circumstances, and it teaches us how to bend in the wind. Chinese medicine is a cosmological worldview and an offering to relieve suffering for many future generations as possible. Join me in this session about this timeless, ancient medicine.
The spleen is our immune system, and it's responsible for the production of white blood cells. The spleen, from a Chinese medicine perspective, is an entirely different one. The spleen is mentioned with the stomach, and they are the main organs at the helm of digestion. Spleen is the source of qi and blood, and it is primarily responsible for the intake and processing and distribution of nutrients from food. Now, food delivers powerful healing properties, as we are learning, and all food contains microRNAs that affect the expression of the majority of the genes in our body and stimulates biological pathways conducive to our health and our wellness. But this is really how the spleen and the stomach work. Digested food is turned into nutrients by the stomach and the spleen. It is then transported upwards by the spleen. The heart and the lungs take over, and they generate qi and convert the nutrients to blood. Excess water produced from the digestion process is circulated to the lungs and kidneys, where it is vaporized and then later excreted out of the body through perspiration and urine. The transportation and transformative role of the spleen depends greatly on the pushing action of the spleen qi. Now, a specific feature of the spleen qi is that it ascends to relay the nutrients to the heart and lungs, where it can pass into the circulatory system to the rest of the body. This ascending function of the spleen qi also helps to maintain the position of the organ in the body where it's located. The stomach qi descends to facilitate the digestion process and excrete the undigested food out of the body. Now, this ascending and descending action complement each other to complete the digestion process. When the ascending function of the spleen becomes impaired, the qi flows downward, and it can result in symptoms like giddiness, fatigue, flatulence, loss of appetite, and even diarrhea. Vomiting can also happen when the spleen qi fails to descend. It would be wise to include things like whole grain foods, red dates, Chinese yam, lotus seeds into your daily diet to nourish your spleen and to really improve overall digestive function. But the spleen also regulates the blood within the blood vessels. Healthy spleen prevents abnormal bleeding disorders. If spleen qi is weak, a person is prone to bruising, blood in the stools, urine, and purple-colored spots found under the skin, amongst other bleeding problems. But fatigue is often attributed to deficiency in spleen qi, and it is commonly accompanied by other symptoms like loss of appetite, abdominal fullness, especially after meals, loose stool, breathlessness, and a pale yellow complexion. But since the spleen is responsible for transforming and transporting nutrients for all bodily functions, a deficiency in spleen qi will result in inadequate nourishment for the organs, suppressing their optimal function and causing the individual to feel sluggish and tired. Now, over time, the deficiency will display outwardly symptoms like distinctive teeth marks imprinted on the edges of the tongue. Now, dampness is a concept in Chinese medicine where the spleen is incapable of transporting and transforming the body's fluids, leading to accumulation of moisture in the body. The characteristics of dampness are things like turbidity, heaviness, phlegminess. It often starts in the leg area and moves upwards to the abdomen. Now, depending on the location in the body, the pathogenic manifestations will be different. For example, in females, it's found in the genital areas where there could be an increased foul smell, vaginal discharge. If dampness accumulates in the intestines, it results in loose stools. Other symptoms of dampness include bloating, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, heaviness, feelings of the body or the limbs heavy, thick and greasy tongue coating are also other signs and symptoms. Now, we believe in Chinese medicine that large amounts of raw, cold, spicy foods can damage the spleen and result in damp accumulation. If dampness in the spleen is already present, certain foods like dairy products, processed foods, alcohol, sugars, sweeteners are going to exacerbate the situation. So strengthening the spleen function is one of the most important considerations in Chinese medicine. This allows for more effective absorption of herbal medications and foods that are beneficial for overall health. So here are some tips on how to nourish your spleen back to optimal health. First, relaxation. The Chinese believe that meals are an important time of the day and that food should not be mixed with work, reading, or even watching television. This may inhibit the passage of food through the body and affect the digestion. Eat in moderate amounts. Overeating results in an overworked spleen and food stagnation. Chewing your food through thoroughly reduces the workload of your digestive system, and food gets absorbed more easily. Avoid cold or chilled beverages. Too much cold drinks can damage the spleen, and the body will take time to warm up the food before it gets digested. Now, herbs that nourish the spleen include astragalus, ginseng, cordyceps, Chinese yam, and licorice. To resolve dampness in the spleen, the most effective herbs are poraya, barley seed, hyacinth beans, for example. Hey, if you like the content in this video, please like. It increases viewership and educates more people on traditional Chinese medicine. And I would love for you to follow and subscribe. Don't forget to share the love as well, because there might be somebody out there who needs to hear this.